Yeah, how you doing, Roger Goodell? You still need me for Sunday, rep? What's that? Oh, the rep block goes over. Okay, I understand. Well, looks like I won't have to officiate any games on Sunday as well as any other replacement ref. But who's going to make interceptions, touchdowns in the end zone? Who's going to make the icing calls? Who's going to call the runner safe on second if he tags the face before the ball gets there? Oh wait, I remember. Nobody, because it never should have had it came down to this to begin with. So let's get to what happened last night. The first game with all the official refs back. It's the Cleveland Browns. It was the Baltimore Ravens. And when you think of these two teams, you got to go all the way back to Art Medell, who passed away about a month ago. And you got to think about how he owned the Cleveland Browns before you moved the franchise to Baltimore. And then the new Cleveland Browns haven't really been the same since. And it's not that they won like numerous Super Bowls, but they were still at least decently successful. It's just they didn't have the right talent to go to the Super Bowl and win one. But anyway, you got to think the Ravens Browns. It was pretty much a defensive battle for most of the game, and I got to give the Browns a lot of credit for stepping up today. I mean, I know it's a division game, and I know they're 0-4 now, but they competed in every game they've been in this season. I mean, when the Ravens got to the red zone the first time, they threw Joe Flacco threw an interception to double coverage. This is why people criticize Joe Flacco a lot, is because he does make decisions like these. But make no mistake, he is getting better and better every year. And I don't know if he's elite as he says he is, but he's getting really, really close. I mean, I think he's a championship away from being elite. But Joe Flacco, he rebounded himself, throwing a touchdown, but they missed the extra point on a botched snap, so it was 6-0. Then they chipped in a field goal, and then the Browns were able to drive down on this Ravens defense near the end of the second as Trent Richardson would run a side dash on a 1-yard touchdown run and making it 9-7. And then the Ravens would drive down the early part of the third, and they stopped Ray Rice 2 times in the goal line before Joe Flacco finally ran it in to make it 16-7, and then Phil Dawson makes a 51-yarder to make it 16-10. And I'll say this about Brandon Weeden though, he played a pretty solid game except this one play that I didn't like, and it was the pick six by Kerry Williams, 63 yards, made it at 23-10. I mean, Weeden played well to that point, and he still played pretty good afterwards. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over again afterwards, but unfortunately, it's just this receiver's got a hard time catching the ball. And I also forgot to mention one of the receivers they did have, Josh Cribbs. He got lit the hell up in the first quarter. And then he smiled about it afterwards. He didn't return to the game. But the fact that he smiled after he took that vicious of a hit, I got to give him props. But man, you are freaking crazy. But anyway, back to the game. It was 23-10 by the end of the third quarter. Brandon Weeden couldn't drive him too much further down as Phil Dawson got another 50-yard to make it 23-13. And then the Browns would eventually stop the Ravens and then get another 50-plus yard field goal, 23-16. So it's a game, and then they kept going, and then the Ravens had to punt it away, and then Brandon Weeden had one last shot. He got really close on this one pass to Jarius Norwood drops it in the end zone. It was so close. They had one chance on fourth down. They jumped it out, and they had pretty much a dive over a bunch of guys around. They called it incomplete, but illegal contact on the offensive or defensive lineman for Baltimore. So the Browns get a break. They had 2 seconds left, one more play, and needless to say, there was no Hail Mary controversy like it was on Monday night, as Brandon Weeden basically threw it too far, and the Ravens walk away with the 23-16 victory. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, the Ravens should have blown this team out, right? Well, yes and no. Yes, because they are playing what appears to be an inferior opponent, but no, because people got to realize this is their fourth game in 18 days, and that's going to take a toll on a bunch of those players. And now the Ravens finally get some rest for at least a week and a half before taking on Kansas City Chiefs next week. So I mean, the Ravens, they started out 3-1 in a considerably tough stretch of a schedule. But it doesn't slow down anytime soon. They do have to go to Kansas City next. Then they play the Cowboys in their first home game that's not played at night, and then they go to Houston before the bye week. So they still got a tough test. But I think the Ravens, they're good enough and they're great to keep that composure, and they're going to keep it up. As for the Cleveland Browns, it's like I said before, they're still a young team, and I still think they need to fix some holes. But they got a decent unit. I mean, Trent Richardson's a great running back. He's got a lot of potential. Brandon Weeden, he's off and on. But I thought he looked good today, except that one pick six. It's just his receivers got to catch the ball, and I think the Browns really need a wide receiver in the first round of the draft next season. But they really need to look at that because the only one they drafted was Travis Benjamin, who had a really solid game. He has some good punt returns and all that. But they need a big time receiver. They need like a Julio Jones. Well, there's not going to be a Julio Jones in the draft, obviously. I'm just giving examples. But like a Julio Jones or a Dwayne Bowe or a Des Bryant or Justin Blackman or not Calvin Johnson, something of that nature in the draft if they can find one. But now the Browns have to go to the Giants next week and search for their first win. It's at New York. It's kind of a tough, but they might be able to win at home against the Bengals in Week 6. I think that will be the first win, if not that week, maybe Week 7 against the Colts. But the Browns, they just have a tough time, but they're a very young team, so I mean, they still got some ways to go. But they are competing, and I do respect that about Cleveland. If you're going to be at 0-4, at least compete as much as you can. I think the most they lost by this season was 10 points. Every other game has been one possession, so props to the Browns for competing every game, and I support that. Alright, that's all for the review. I'll be back Sunday at noon, afternoon, and night games. I know.